So earlier we discussed about what is action, what type of actions are there, how to reuse the actions. Now we'll discuss here operations on actions. First one, we can rename action. That means if I created actions, when I am going to call those actions here, what is the name is showing here? No? So by seeing that, it is difficult to understand which transaction script it is. Login operation or open application. So it is not clear. For the purpose, open the test. Directly you can't do the modification here. Use Shift F2 function key. Shift F2 flight reservation login. I give one. This is action 2. So action 1 I go. So Shift plus F2 flight reservation login. Okay. Now action 2, if I go again, Shift plus F2 flight reservation agent module related open record like this. We can give the names. When you see the names like this, it makes easy to understand which action it is, which transaction script that action contains. That is the advantage. Okay. There is a reusing, so rename the action here. The second one, changing action properties. Changing action properties. So action properties meaning here, if I go for here, so we have the one is reusable action, other one is non-reusable action. Now this non-reusable action also I want to change into the reusable action. This non-reusable action also I want to change into the reusable action. How I can do that? So view test flow is the one component is there. Go to that. It shows that what are the actions are there in our opened test. Two actions are there. Which action properties do you want to change? Select that action name, right click on mouse, go to action properties. So here there is one checkbox here. What is that? Reusable action. Checkbox on, click on OK. Now it is saying, giving some hint to you. A reusable action can be called by another action or test. So now we are converting that one. You can make into that one reusable for the other actions also saying that. Same way you want to make the reusable action into the non-reusable. Generally we won't do like that. If you won't do that, you can off the checkbox like this. Like that we can change the action properties. Third one. Split action. Sometimes an existing action script we can split into the multiple actions. An existing action script we can split into the multiple actions. How it is. Now look at this login. I have the two transactions here. One is to launch application. Other one is to perform the login operation. This I want to take into the two sub actions. How we can do that? So select the position. Where do you want to split? Set the position. Where do you want to split? Go to edit menu, action, split action. Yes. Okay. Now it is asking that independent of each other or nested. Do you want to split action within the action means you have to go for the nested. Independent of each other like this. Let us see that independent of each other if I selected, click on OK. Now see. Flight reservation login one. What is the script is there? Only invoke application. Flight reservation login two. We have only login operation script. So now, if I call this one, if you require in another test, you can call this one. Only this portion going to execute. So not like that. If I go for nested, you see the difference. Set the position in the script, edit menu, action, split action. Yes. So nested if I select it, now click on OK. Now see login 2 is only login operation script. Login 1 if I go, what is there here? See driver we got. That means whenever you call this login 1 action, by default login 2 script also will go to execute. Nested if we discussed. If within the if is there, same action within the action is there. So first action, so second action is called by the first action script here. And you go for the nested. So that is the split action. One is rename action, changing action properties, then split action. Now fourth one, if you want to delete action in a test, is it possible? Only action I want to delete? Yes, you can delete the specific action in a test like this. Again go to the test flow component. Which action do you want to delete? Select that action, right click on mouse, you have the delete. Whatever action you want to delete, you can delete it like this. Delete action. Reorder actions execution flow. Reorder actions execution flow. You want to reorder actions execution flow, you can do that one. So how we can do that? Let us see my here. If I go for new test, print, this is an action 1. Some actions I am going to create here. The insert menu, call to new action. This name I am going to get action name sample. This is action 2. Insert menu, call to new action. Demo. This is action 3. Insert menu, call to new action. Login. Action 4. Insert menu, call to new action. Close application. Action 5. I'm going to save this one on my desktop. I'm going to save as a test one. How many actions are there in my test? 5. So 5. Okay. How I can know that? You can go for this actions list. It shows that. Now list of actions are showing that. Now I want to know the which sequence those actions are going to execute. Do you remember that which sequence I created? First I created action 1. Then I created after that sample. After I created demo. Then I created login. Then I created close application. Like this. This is the sequence where I followed to create the actions. Action 1, sample, demo, login, close application like this. But when I go here, it is showing like this. Alphabetical order is showing that. This action list is showing that. Alphabetical order actions names are showing that. So if I run it, which is sequence those actions are going to execute? Alphabetical order going to execute, or which is sequence I created, same sequence going to execute? We'll see that if I run it, how the output we are going to get. So here it is means a small script is there, I can execute, I can see there which is sequence going to execute. By default, which is sequence I created actions, same sequence those are executed. But I have the script means executing, then you are finding is not correct. You go to the view menu, test flow component, it will show to you. So see that which is sequence I created, same sequence is showing or not. So test flow component will shows to you which is sequence your actions are going to execute within the test. Which is sequence your actions are going to execute within the test. Now I am not satisfied with this sequence. I want to reorder. Last action, what is that? Close application is there or login is there. I want to execute first that one. You can do that one. You can do the drag and drop in this test flow component. Now if you run it, the login is the first going to execute. You can see that. Action for first is execute. So you can reorder actions execution flow from the test flow component by performing drag and drop operation. You can drag and drop which is sequence do you want to execute. Okay. Yeah, reorder actions execution flow. From the test flow component by drag and drop we can execute the reorder the actions execution flow. Now whenever you click on run, all the actions are executing. But I am not interested to execute all the actions. I want to execute only one action. I want to execute only one action. Maybe demo I want to execute. So how we can go for that? So executing specific action in a test. How we can do that? Executing specific action in a test. Very simple, my here. Which action do you want to execute? Open that action in our test pane. Demo I want to execute. Demo I want to execute. So you can open the action pane. Then go to automation menu. We have an option here. What is that? Run current action. If you selected that one, which action you have here, that only going to execute. Okay. So actions concept in interview point of view, every point is important. What of questions we can expect? Actions. So every point I given with the navigations, how to changing action properties, how to do it. So everything I given in the notes. So with the navigations. So try to take the handouts that notes while practicing time. It makes easy to you. Executing specific action in a test. Next one. Executing some of the actions in a test. Now I want to execute some of the actions in a test, not all. So how we can go for that? Now this time my requirement is like this one. In my test I have the 5 actions are there. Action 1, sample, demo, login, close application. But I want to execute action 1, demo and close application. Action 2, action 4 not required. So how we can do that? Now where I saved this test, desktop as test 1, open the test folder. So here 5 actions are there, 5 action folders are available. Apart that we have one more folder here, action 0 folder. This is called a driver folder we are going to call. So in this action 0 folder, QTP will going to maintain this actions which is sequence has to execute. Open this action 0 folder. There we have the script.mts, module test script, script file extension. So MTS, module test script. Open this from the notepad. You see that drivers are available. to call the actions. Now which actions are not required to you? Second action not required. Don't delete. In VB script how to comment? Prefix with single quotation. It is a comment or not? Same way, run action, login also not required. Fourth one, prefix with single quotation. Save it. Then open QTP, show you all 5 actions. So just you reopen the test again. Open new test. Again, open the same test. Now how many actions are showing here? 3. What about other actions? Those are available, but those are not going to execute. This is the way some of the actions in a test we can execute. Very famous question, interview point of. Okay. Now here, A equal to MindQ, B equal to system system. I will try. A equal to systems, B equal to MindQ is there. Okay. Now in action 2, insert menu call to new action. If I go for message box of B ampersand A, if I give, can I get the MindQ systems? Action 1, I have the values like this. B have the MindQ, A have the systems. Now I am writing in action 2, B ampersand A. If I run, will I get the output or not? No output I am going to get. Because lifetime of the variables within the action only, within the function only. It won't carry the value for the other actions. Now maybe I have the variables like this here. X and Y is there. My intention, I want to here output as microsystems by passing the values from the action 1 to action 2. I want to pass the values. For that, we have the concept called action parameters. Action parameters we are going to call. Using action parameters, we can pass the values from one action to another action. But action parameters, how to create like environment variables here, parameter of parameter name. We have to use like this. Parameter of parameter name we have to use. Now here action 1. These are the local variables. I need to make this one into the action parameters. Parameter of A. Here also parameter of B. Now once I am using these things here, I should specify to the QTP A, B are the action parameters which I am using to pass the values to the other actions. So whatever action parameters will go into return the values for the other actions, those are called output parameters. Output action parameters. We have to declare it. I created. Now we have to declare. Where to declare? Go to again test flow component, action 1, right click on mouse, action properties. Go to action properties, parameters. Input output. Those has to pass the values. So output. So A, data type, string or boolean value, date, number, password, whatever. So string it is B. Same way, in action to also XY it won't read the values. Those also I need to make into the action parameters. Parameter of X. Then parameter of Y. Like this. Here also I need to declare action to, right click on mouse, action properties. Go to parameter, click on plus button, X and Y. Okay. Now, two things I did so far. I created action parameters and I declare the action parameters, input, output. Now, if I run it, it won't give any error message, but you won't get output also. Why we are not getting the output here? Because you said, okay, action 1 have some output action parameters, action 2 also have the output action parameters. But this X, where it has to read the value? Are you specified? In action 1 we have the AB is there. From A it has to read or from B it has to read? We are not specified. We need to map this input action parameters to the output action parameters. Again go to the action 2. This is the third step here. Action call properties, parameter values, click on value, click on configure the value button, parameter. So from B it has to read X. Then it has to read from here. Now if I run, we got the output. This is the way we can go for the action parameters. But action parameters are not preferred in present scenario because this is not script oriented. It is navigation oriented, test settings oriented. So because of that, this test we can't call into another test means maybe settings are going to be changes. There's a reason same data whenever you want to reuse, better go for the environment variables. Better go for environment variables instead of going to the action parameters. So earlier, without environment variables, action parameters are very important because some dependent values will be there, action 1 to action 2. At that time, they are using the action parameters. But once the environment variables concept is updated, so we are going to prefer environment variables. That is script orientation, more we are going to prefer, not the navigation or settings oriented, like this. So the different operations we can do on actions. All the navigations I given my here. I will do this. Next one, test batch execution. After creation of test scripts, during manual testing also we discussed about the test suite or test batch, collection of test cases. Based on the functionality for an application we take, we perform the execution. Okay. Now here test batch execution, same thing. After creation of the number of test scripts here, those we are going to execute one after one in a sequence. That is called test batch execution. Different possibilities are there using driver script, using test batch runner, using AOM concept, automation object model. There are three possibilities are there using driver script, using test batch runner, using AOM concept, automation object model. Okay, these things are there. Now for this we need some tests here. I want to create the three tests here, test 1, test 2, test 3. Each test some actions I want to maintain so that I can go for the batch execution. Okay. So how we can go for this? What is the first test I want to create here? So to launch application, I go for new test. It is to launch application. Invoke application. Path of the application. Shift plus F2 to give the name flight reservation agent open application. Now action 2 I want to create. Insert menu, call to new action. Flight reservation, agent, login to perform login operation. Go to record, activate login window, enter agent name, enter password, click on OK. Stop. Save this test. And C drive, 10 a.m. October 16, test folder. With the name as test1, I am going to save it. I go for another test. Test 2 I want to create. Action 1. To perform booking a flight transaction. Okay. To perform booking a flight transaction. Go to record. New order. Enter data of flight. Select value in flight from list box. Select value in flight to list box. Click on flights button. Click on OK. Enter customer name. Select class. Click on insert order button. Again, go to insert menu. Call to new action. Flight reservation. Send fax. Okay. This to send fax for customer. Activate flight reservation window. Select fax order option. What is the number showing here? Fax order number 51. Activate this window. Enter any 10 digits number. Signature not required. Click on send. Stop record. But later, when I am going to run, this fax order number may changes. Yes or no? When I verify insert operation, again order number is going to be changes at the time when I open. For reusability of this script, no, what I am going to do here, fax order number, I am going to use the regular expression. How to give here? Remove the 51 space backslash s backslash d star. A regular expression I given. Click on OK. Close. So here also to avoid conflict here, fax order number, just I am going to rename as a fax order. This script able to execute any fax order window now. Okay. Any number it can be, fax order number 51 or 21, whatever it is. Save this one as test 2. What other test is required to me? Action 1. To open a record. Action 2. To close application. Now, go for new test. Flight reservation, agent, open record. Record. Go to record, activate flight reservation window, select open order option, activate open order sub window, order number checkbox on, enter value 5, click on OK. Insert menu, call to new action, flight reservation, agent, close application. Click on OK. This to close application. Activate flight reservation window, file menu, exit. Stop. like this. Save this one also as test 3. Now once I created this many tests here, I want to execute like this. First one, using driver script. This option I can use. When do you prefer this driver script means? When we want to execute some of the actions, not all the actions in a test. I want to execute some of the actions in a test from different tests. Then we can go for the driver script. How it is possible? We can create the new test by calling the required action scripts with help of the call to existing action or load and run action. Dynamically we can call like this. Okay. Now see that. If I want to execute the scripts like this, first test 1, action 2. Then test 3, action 1 I want to execute. After that again test 2, action 2 I want to execute. After the test 3, action 2 I want to execute. Not in same sequence now, which is sequence I created. So I want to execute different actions from different tests. Action 1, 2. Then test 3, action 1. Test 2, action 2. Test 3, action 2 like this. So how we can do that? See that. Open new test. We know the driver said insert menu, call to existing action. From test 1 I want to execute. First, open application. When you're given proper names for the action, it makes easy to select which action do you want to execute. Open application. Script you got. Here you select the action 1 where you have the driver here. Run action, action name, test name, one iteration. So another action I need from the same test. Go to again insert menu, call to existing action, select the test 1, select the login action. Okay. So now you see that we got the two drivers here. Now what is the next next action I want to execute? Open and record from test 3. Insert menu, call to existing action, test 3, open record. Click on OK. Like this. Now after that, send fax I want to execute. Insert menu, call to existing action. Now test 2, send fax is there. Click on OK. Got. Now after that, I want to execute the close application from test 3. How we can go for that? Insert menu, call to existing action from test 3. Close application. Click on OK. Like this. Or I am not interested to do this one. I want to write the script dynamically to call the action means you can say load and run action. Path of the test where it is the C drive 10 a.m. October 16 tests test 3. Which action do you want to execute? Flight reservation, agent, close application. Like this, dynamically you can write the script. This script you can write instead of using call to existing action. Now, I'm going to run it. This is the way how we can execute the different action scripts from different tests based on the functionality flow. Don't call in the middle close application. If you call in the middle close application, other scripts are not going to execute. Transaction flow possible to perform. In that way, you have to set the actions here. Okay. Like this, we can go for the test batch execution. So no, not like this. I want to execute all the actions in all the tests. So one after one sequential. Then how we can do that? Sum of the actions means like this. All the actions from all the tests. Then in QTP, they given one tool they given for us. That is called test batch runner we are going to call. Test batch runner. In this test batch runner, you can add the test. Which test do you want to execute? So C drive, 10 a.m. October, test. Test 1 I want to execute. Test 2 I want to execute. Here it is not possible to execute some of the actions. All the actions you can execute. Now test batch runner file extension is .mtb, module test batch. This is. When you save, the icon is appears to you like this. This is a test batch runner file icon. It is like this. Now I want to execute that. There is no QTP. Just I open the test batch runner window. There is a run button is there. I am going to click on this run button. See, when I go for the QTP, only you need to give the efforts to develop the scripts. About tool, no worries for the automation tester. When you are going to work with the Selenium, it is not like that. Every time you need to configure. Versions are changed. So we have to configure. And every time we have to download something and we have to configure to the WebDriver so that only we can do the automation testing. That's a continuous process. One time we install the QTP, never going to work on QTP installation process. Only are going to focus on the developing automation scripts. Okay. That's a license tool. Everything they given already. But Selenium is open source. They are not given everything. You have to configure. Like this we can go. Okay. Now here there is other possibility. Now see that. In Qtip VP script, they given some object classes. With the help of those object classes, we can interact with the other applications. Some object classes they given. With the help of those object classes, we can interact with the other applications. Here for QTP to interact, we can use the quick test.application class we can use. Quick test.application. This is called API concept, application programming interface we are going to call. Application programming interface. We have the various classes are available, but as an automation tester, few classes are required for us. One is quick test.application. Second one is scripting.filesystem object. Scripting.filesystem object to work on the notepad. So excel.application to work on directly Excel files. Excel.application. And to work on the database, we have the connection class they given, command class they given, record set class also they given. Okay. Now here quick test.application, that is also we are going to use to perform the test batch execution, which I are going to call AOM concept, automation object model. Now I am not going to directly touch my QTP. Already scripts are created. Now I want to execute my scripts. So what I will do here, I will write some program in the notepad. I am going to execute this program. This program is going to interact with the application QTP. So there it's going to execute my scripts. Without operating manually my QTP, I want to automate my QTP automation now. So with QTP automating project. Now QTP also I want to automate. That is the automation object model. Okay. Now set, you see that set QTAPP equal to create object of scripting dot file system object. Set QTAPP equal to create object scripting dot file system object. Sorry, QTP object I want to use, not this one here. Quick test dot application. I will show that one also. quick tested application, I'll see that. Now what I'm going to say here, QTP dot launch. I'm giving the instruction here, launch my QTP. There is a method supports. The built-in methods. Launch is the method that class is going to support. Then QTApp dot visible equal to true. Thus I'm going to save this one. Save on my desktop aom.vbs Visual Basic Script. VBS means Visual Basic Script. That is the VBS script I written here. So QTP is not there on my screen. So now I'm going to double click on VBS file. This is demo it is. Sorry. So what is the AOM? This is the file. Double click here. When I double click, what happened here? QTP is open or not? I am not uploaded QTP. With that program, I am given the instruction, open this QTP. So once it is open this QTP, what next it has to do? It has to open the test or not? It has to open the test. So what I am going to say, QTApp dot open. What it has to open? C drive 10 a.m. October 16 test folder. I have the test one. Open this one. QTApp dot whatever test you opened, run it. Then QTApp dot test dot close. I'm given the instruction here through program here. Okay. Same way. Different tests are there. Test 1, test 2, test 3. Then I want to close my QTP. QTAP dot quit. Selenium are going to find scripts are like this only. Now see that if I double click this AOM file, like this one after one content is going to execute. And the system problem I got here. It is executed. Some file may be corrupted now. That's why it's not executing here. Okay. So this is where we can go for the execution. The script I given here. So QTP create object quick tested application QTP.launch. Same thing I written to execute. Some file now it is corrupted there. That's why it's not executed. Like this. This is the test batch execution we are going to call. Now sometimes what will happens if we have a script like this. Yesterday we discussed some script that to read the customer names for given order numbers. To open a record, go to record, activate file menu, open order, activate open order number checkbox on, enter value 5, click on OK. Stop. Then I'm going to add the name edit box information object repository. To read customer name. So window flight reservation dot activate, then cname equal to window flight reservation dot winedit name dot get our property of text. Now here I may have the order numbers like this. Order number. Here customer. Here I want to go for some numbers here. 5, 1, 9, 3, 8. This order numbers I want to parameterize. Data table dot value of 1 comma 1 also I can give. First column, first sheet. That is the meaning. Same way here. Data table dot value, second column, first sheet. CNAME. So this is the script I created to open a record. After open a record for given order number, whatever name displays in the name edit box, it has to read. That name has to be written under customer column. Okay. If I run my script, 'like this. But sometimes I may give some order numbers like this. 45, 95 I give. I don't know those order numbers are available or not. I may felt those are available. There's a possibility somebody maybe deleted those order numbers. Maybe prior to me, they may execute delete order script. Now see what will happen here. "95" order number may not available. So using AOM concept, we can go for test batch execution on schedule time. Today 10 p.m. I want to execute, I can execute. How I can do that one? Go Go to the control panel, scheduled task, add scheduled task, browse the file, AVM file. Browse your AVM file. It will ask that when do you want to execute? One time only, next. So when do you want to perform? Nine PM I want to execute. So date, we can click on next. So next, finish. But login name is important. System login username password values are important. System login username password values. Okay, like that we can do. At the time I give 9 PM, I am not there in front of the system. One script I am executing. At the time I got the problem like this. Because of the other scripts are not possible to execute. One script I got the problem here, other scripts are not going to execute. Now this problem how to overcome? So this is the case where we have to go for the recovery scenarios. Okay. So now when I am not there in front of the system, QTP need to solve the problem and it has to continue the script execution. QTP need to solve the problem and it has to continue the script execution. This is called recovery scenarios we are going to follow. So how we can go for this recovery scenarios? There are 4 types of recovery scenarios we have in QTP. The major purpose of the recovery scenarios to solve the runtime interruptions and to continue the script execution, we can go for recovery scenarios. During manual testing also we discussed about the recovery testing. We discussed about the recovery testing. What is that? Recovery testing. How will application able to recover from abnormal state to the normal state? Power failure, so or system server failure, system crash may happen, network issues. So while booking movie tickets, book my show, maybe you got the internet disconnected in the middle of the process, payment. So then how? Your transaction will roll back or not? So these the programs are going to be written by the developer based on the expected interruptions. Same way, when I'm going to the data-driven testing, sometimes a given value is not available. Application may give the pop-up window at that time. How to handle? Accordingly, we have to create the recovery scenario. So that is a recovery scenario here. First one here, pop-up window. 4 types of recovery scenarios are there. Pop-up window. What is that pop-up window says? When sometimes a specific window in opened application may interrupt our test run. Sometimes a specific window in opened application may interrupt our test run. To solve that interruption and to continue the script execution, we can go for the pop-up window. Second one is test run error. Sometimes a specific step in the script may not run successfully. To solve that interruption, we can go for the test run error. A step in the script is not executed successfully. Next one, object state. Sometimes an object property value may interrupt your test run. I want to click on OK button, but the OK button is disabled in my application. That may interrupt. So how to solve that? We have to create the recovery scenario. Fourth one is application crash. While execution time, application may not responding. So that's the problem I'm going to get in that application crash recovery scenario. So here, see how to create. In this scenario, I want to create the pop-up window recovery scenario. How do you create? First, I got the pop-up window here. Go to resources menu. We have the recovery scenario manager. Go to recovery scenario manager. There is a new scenario icon. Click on that one. Welcome screen you got. Click on next. What type of recovery scenario? Any recovery, same navigation. Pop-up window, object state, test and error, application crash. So pop-up window. Click on next. Now it will ask which window it is. Specify the pop-up window conditions. Click this hand icon button. This is the window is interrupted. Window type is collected. Flight reservations. And whatever text is there, it is collected, but order number may changes. So I am going to off that one. Click on next. Now what is asking that you must define at least one operation. Press the next button to define your operation. Next. What type of operation do you want to perform to solve this interruption? Click on OK. Click on cancel sufficient or not. This window I need to close, this window I need to close. Then it will continue the remaining script execution. So I can go for the keyboard or mouse operation, recovery operation type. Click on next. Click button with the label. Which object? Click this hand icon button. OK button I want to. I'm showing that object to the QTP. Next. Add another recovery operation. Next. Another operation also required for us. Because this window it closed means this window also has to close or not. So go for next. So again keep a mouse operation. Next. With this hand icon I'm saying that this object has to click. Next. It is giving that you created two operations. Click button with the label, click button with the label. So these two are sufficient of this one. Next. Now it is called post recovery test and option. Once interruption is solved, how do you want to continue? Repeat step and continue. Where your problem is got, same step again you want to continue from there, or you want to go to the next step, do you want to continue, or proceed to next action or component. Action 2 you want to go from action 1, or proceed to next test iteration, next iteration. So these options you have to select based on the problem and what type of script you are executing. Based on that you have to select. But in our case, proceed to next test iteration is sufficient. Click on next. Scenario name. Demo for pop-up. Click on next. Now it is asking the trigger event pop-up window, recovery operation, keyboard and mouse operation, keyboard and mouse operation. Post record test and options. Proceed to next test iteration. Add scenario to current test. Click on finish. Close. Asking that to save. Recovery scenarios I want to save. C drive. 10 a.m. October. Recovery. In this recovery scenario, I am going to give popup.qrs, quick test recovery scenario. Save it like this. Now see my here. Now I will go for here also. 145 order number I give. Now if I run, see if the any interruptions are like that, which window I showed, QTP will take the responsibility. It will go into initiate will wait 20 seconds using global synchronization timeout parameter. So like this I are going to get. QTP is going to solve the interruption. If I go for runtime data table, whatever order numbers are available, for those order numbers I are going to get the customer names. But what about other order numbers here? There is no information. Now again, recovery scenario is also not preferred in the real time. Reason, I created recovery scenarios, you are going to execute my scripts. There is no information about the recovery scenarios. Only name you are going to find. Which options I selected, what type of operation I specified, that is not understandable to the others. That's the reason it is not preferred. Now recovery scenarios are not required, means through script you can solve it. So first I am going to deactivate the recovery scenario file. Now if I execute this script now, first you understand where the problem is. This is the problem I got. Now, is it possible to write the script to check this window available or not on screen? First I am going to add this object information to the object repository. After click OK, if a window flight reservation dot dialog of open order dot dialog of flight reservations dot exist. In 2 seconds, once 2 seconds of time it is available or not. If it is exist, then what I want to do, I want to read the error message. So what the message is there here, I want to read it. So static is the class, error message it is. Name I am going to rename for the static object. So window flight reservation dot dialog of open order dot dialog of flight reservations dot static error message dot get RO property of text. Okay. After that, so I want to close that window flight reservation dot dialog of open order dot dialog of flight reservations dot close. Same way, open order window also I want to close. Dot dialog of open order dot dialog. This one I want to close. Then data table dot value 2 comma 1. I want to say error message. What is the error message I want to write? That order number does not exist. The information I want to pass. Maybe it is available, not available. If it is not available, this pop-up window, else read the customer name. Now see the logic here. Just what I am saying that after click on OK, I am expecting some error message from the pop-up window from the application. So I want to check the pop-up window exists or not. If it exists, read the error message, close that pop-up window, open on the window, enter the message into the data table. If the pop-up window not available, read the activate flight reservation window, do this activity. Okay. Now see that. So this is the best way to handle the pop-up windows always. In the real time, this is the process we are going to follow. See that we are going to get the clarity also here. The given order number not available. So through script, when we are going to solve the runtime interruptions, that concept we are going to call exception handling. Recovery scenarios is the QTP concept. Exception handling is a VB script concept. This is the one. If I go for another example like this, I will go for recording. Activate flight reservation window. Select new order option. Enter data of flight. Select value in flight from list box. Select value in flight to list box. Click on flight. click on OK. Smith, click on insert order button. But here by mistake I am going to write here instead of Frankfurt I given like this, Chennai I given. If I run my script, will it execute or not? Yes or no? Chennai is available in the flight to list box to execute. There is no Chennai. Object is not available option saying that. Now how to handle this one? Now what I want to do here, I want to say exception like this. Find the number of items available in this flight reservation window, flight to list box. Get arrow property of items count. Then I want to say that select any one of the number, any one of the value in that list box. Any one of the value. I am not sure which values are there. So I am not sure how many number of items are available. Then how we can say that here window flight reservation dot win combo box flight to dot select. If I give 0, what is the meaning of that one? So first item has to select, or 0 to last item is n number of items means 0 to n minus 1 or not. So how we can say that for the QTP here, take any one of the number 0 to n minus 1, based on that you select the value. This is the case where we are going to use the random number option 0 to n minus 1. So when this is not executing, so I am saying the exception here, find number of items available, select any one of the number based on the index. Now if I run here, will it execute or not? Now problem we are going to get in the 5th step, solution I given in the 6th step. Problem is the 5th step. Here it is the problem, but solution is given here 6th step. When a problem is there, QTP is given the error message here itself. How it go to the other steps? Now I want to say that. Okay, there is a problem in the script, but don't give any error message to me. Continue the script execution. Don't give any error message. Continue the script execution. So I need to write for that here. On error, resume next. Up to which portion? Up to this portion only. Again, if there is any problem, again it has to give the error message. Then on error, go to 0. Now see my here. Execute or not? Deliver selected. Now again you see my address. Here is the problem in the 5th step. It won't give any error message. Continue the script execution. So randomly one item is selected there. Now suppose here I may given Paris I given here, which is already available. Then this post script executes or not? Paris is available, then exception script is going to execute or not? That also it going to execute. Again random selection. Is it required like that? When item is not available, then only it has to go for the random selection. No? Now how we can say here, any program, any statement is not executed, some error code is going to return. I am going to say here, if error.number not equal to 0. If we equal to 0 means there is no interruption. Not equal to 0 means there is some error is there. So when error is occurred, then all I want to do. Error code, we don't know what exact error code. I am saying that For execution time, any interruptions are there, then only it has to execute. Now see that if I run, only Paris will be maintained. Only Paris is there or not? Now I given here. Go. Now it is executed. This is the way how we can solve the runtime interruptions using exception handling. So this is the concept you have to practice last. All the concepts you practice, test of the method, synchronization, parameterization. These all things are complete. Last you have to work on the recovery scenarios. Because script you are not able to know that how to write properly, always going to give the errors. Okay. So that is not preferable. So once you got the count and general scripts, then you practice the recovery scenarios concept. Okay. That's the class today. Tomorrow we are going to discuss